Hello and welcome to AN24 TV News, reaching you from our studio in Lagos. I am Muyoluwa Olachide. The top stories. PDP rejects consensus options as candidates brace up for primary elections. External reserves eat growth path, gain $234 million. APC fixes 50% reduction of nomination forms for the youth. ASUU appeals to federal government to fund universities for 4 trillion naira subsidy. This and more after the break. Ahead of the presidential primary election scheduled for May 28th and 29th, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has jettisoned the consensus option for the selection of the party's candidates for January 25th, 2023 presidential poll. The PDP presidential candidate is going to emerge through an indirect mode of primary election during the party convention slated for next month. Unlike what happened during PDP's last national convention, where the party's national chairman, Senator Hiocha Hayo, and other members emerged through consensus, the fate of the 17 PDP presidential aspirants would be decided by the party's delegates during the May 28th and 29th primary elections. All the aspirants are bracing up for primary elections following division in the main opposition party over the inability of the presidential aspirants to collectively agree on a consensus arrangement.
AN24 TV gathered that 17 presidential aspirants comprising 16 male and 1 female collected and submitted their expression of interest and nomination forms at the party's secretariat in Abuja as of Wednesday, which ought to be the last day for sale of submission of forms. But the party on Thursday extended the date for its sale of nomination and expression of interest forms to Friday. The male aspirant paid 40 million naira each, while the female aspirant paid 5 million naira for the expression of interest form and got the nomination form for free, in line with the PDP's special consideration for women. The PDP presidential aspirants are former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Chairman, PDP Governors Forum and Sokoto State Governor, Right Honorable Aminu Waziri Tambuwa, Governors Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, Udom Emmanuel Akwa Ibom, and Bala Mohammed of Bauchi, former Senate President Senator Bukola Saraki, former Secretary to the Government of the Federation Senator Ayim Pius Ayim, former Governors Peter Obi, Anambra, and Ayodele Fayoshe of Ekiti State. Other aspirants are media mogul Dele Momodu, a United States-based medical doctor, Nwachukwu Anakwenze, investment banker and economist Mohammed Hayatuddin, a pharmacist Sam Uhwabunwa, former speakers of Abia House of Assembly Cosmos Ndukwe and Chikwendu Kalu, PDP chieftain Charles Agu. While many of the northern presidential aspirants are pushing for the idea of consensus candidacy, the aspirants from the southern part are kicking against the idea, demanding that the party's candidate should be decided by delegates through primary elections. Saraki, Tambuwa, Mohammed, and Hayatuddin in the last few weeks have been in the vanguard of consensus candidacy, traversing the nook and cranny of the country on why the PDP should embrace the idea, which according to them is healthy for the party. But some aspirants, especially Wike, kick against the consensus candidacy idea, insisting that it will not be in the interest of the party and it is against equity, justice, and fairness. Speaking exclusively with AN24 TV on Thursday, former Minister for Transportation and ex-member of the PDP Board of Trustees, BOT, Chief Ebenezer Babatokpe said the consensus arrangement will not work because no aspirant will step down for others in the race. They will not accept it, so it is better for the party presidential candidate to emerge during the convention through an election. PDP should conduct the primaries and all the aspirants should be allowed to take part in the presidential primary election for us to choose our party's candidates.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has again extended the date for its sale of nomination and expression of interest forms to Friday, April 22, 2022, while the new date for submission of completed forms is now Monday, April 25th, 2022. PDP disclosed the new development in a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologwagba, on Thursday. Ologagba stated that after thorough consideration of various issues and concerns in the party, the PDP extended the closing date for the purchase of expression of interest and nomination forms to Friday. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has recorded a rise in Nigerians' external reserves with an increase of $243 million in 19 days. CBN revealed this in its data on movement in reserves, that the value rose from $39.54 billion as of April 1, 2022 to $39.78 billion as of April 19, 2022. It was recorded that the external reserves fell by $313 million in March, after starting the month at $39.86 billion before falling to $39.55 billion on March 30th. The governor of CBN, Godwin Emefiele, at the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting said that the moderate accretion of reserves reflects the duality of Nigerians' position as an oil exporter and importer of refined petroleum products. A member of the Monetary Policy Committee, Professor Mike Obadon, said the oil sector had contributed over 90% of the nation's foreign exchange earnings and external reserves accretion. It has also been a significant contributor to the government's naira revenue through crude oil and gas export receipts. Obadon said the Nigerian oil sector has experienced loss due to a huge volume of crude oil theft, which has prevented the country from meeting the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, approved production quota, and the inability of Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, for many months to make any remittance from direct oil export sales into the Federation account and external reserves account. Nigerians have reacted in shock to the cost of the All Progressives Congress expression of interest and nominations forms ahead of its primaries. At the emergency meeting held on Wednesday, the ruling party pegged the cost of the presidential ticket at 100 million naira, while the governorship aspirants will part with 50 million naira for the forms. Aspirants vying to represent the part at the red chambers will pay 20 million naira, as House of Representatives hopefuls will pay 10 million naira, and State House of Assembly aspirants will pay 2 million naira. Earlier, the party's National Publicity Secretary, Felix Morka, said the value placed on forms is justified. Speaking to AN24 TV, some Nigerians have, however, condemned the price tag, stating that it encourages corruption and embezzlement in power.
For somebody who is aspiring to be a president in this country, who does not have up to that capacity, it doesn't mean you have to have that kind of money to be able to lead. It's important that even those who have capacity to lead should be able to access leadership, not because of how much they have.
To be quite honest with you, it will breed corruption. It will encourage people to loot public funds.
Most people who spoke to AN24 TV on the streets of Lagos argued that the APC has systematically sidelined youths because most Nigerians cannot afford the amount, even if it was discounted.
With that 100 million for presidency, you can see already there is a systematic intention to sideline the average youth. How many of the youths can afford such money?
People say that it is because of that people go there to steal money. I'm not agree with that. Anybody who wants to become a president must prove that he is capable, even financial capable. 100 million is nothing for anybody who wants to become a president.
The All Progressive Congress, APC, has approved a 50% reduction in the price of nomination forms for individuals under 40 years of age. Disclosing the approval on Wednesday, Dayo Israel, APC National Youth Leader, appealed to interested individuals not to abuse the opportunity.
Having disclosed the prices after the APC NEC meeting held yesterday, Nigerians are expressing their thoughts regarding this latest development. Speaking with AN24 TV in an exclusive interview, most Nigerians said a 50% reduction may not solve the youth problems because some of the youth cannot even afford half of the actual amount approved by the All Progressives Congress, APC.
You that just finished university, that cannot able to even know where to get a job, give you that sort of amount of money, 50 million, where is he going to get it from?
Also, another person during the interview whose name is withheld expressed great disappointment in government of this federation. His words read, fixing 50% discount for the youth sequel to the nomination form is encouraging looting.
Well, I think to all concerned, it's actually it's encouraging looting, no matter how you say it, because I believe there are some youths who are they have money much more than some persons as well, some old men or some average men who are also going or vying for the position. So pegging it or giving the youth 50%, it doesn't have much effect.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has asked federal government to invest 200 billion naira from the 4 trillion naira budgeted for fuel subsidy to address the challenges of its members, thereby putting an end to the industrial action embarked upon by the union. ASUU President Professor Emmanuel Osodeke made the appeal during a television interview section on Wednesday. He also lamented the level of negligence of the government towards its educational sector. Osodeke said the government has refused to make any definite move to address the demands of the lecturers since the strike, which has crippled activities across public universities, began in February. According to Osodeke, nothing has happened and government has not shown any sign that it is willing to resolve the issues. The ASUU president listed some of the issues in contention to include renegotiations of the 2009 agreement, payment system for members, and revitalization of the nation's universities, amongst others. He stressed that no concrete resolution was reached despite the series of meetings with the government delegation led by Minister of Labor and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige. For over 2 months, Nigerian students in federal universities have been forced to stay at home due to the strike action embarked by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU. Amid all this, the Minister of Labor and Employment of the federal government, Chris Ngige, knocked the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, for embarking on strike because the government is working to meet their demands. Today, AN24 TV went into the streets of Lagos to gather reactions of some Nigerians on the issue. While some lament the impact of the strike on academics of students, some of them share their experiences, and some went further to say the strike has opened new opportunities for some of the students to explore other positive ways to survive, which included learning a trade or a skill.
While we are, still under the strike and we don't know our fate for now, I advise every Nigerian student to arm themselves with a skill, a very lucrative skill, work on your brain to see if you can bring out a solution to, people around.
But I would just advise students that are on strike now, just look for something that you can learn. Look for, like a handiwork. Maybe you want a lady, you want to go into fashion design. A guy, you want to just learn something. So it won't be as if this ASUU strike is making you delay. There are some other things that you can venture into that can broaden your knowledge. So whenever the school resumes, you know that you have this skill, like a set of skill. Like you have this skill to your own self. Then, luckily for you, when by the grace of God, when you graduate, you can go into it. It adds up to your own knowledge.
Officials of the Lagos State Education Quality Assurance and the Directorate of Public Prosecution have summoned the management of CHRISLAND schools and parents of the pupils allegedly involved in sexual acts during the school trip to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, for interrogations. A source at the meeting said the interrogation started on Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. and ended around 7:30 p.m. According to the source, the mother of the girl involved in the alleged act was absent from the meeting as she honored the invitation to a questioning section at the police station. The school management, the parents, and all parties involved are also to report at the State Criminal Investigation Department, Yaba, today for further investigations. However, the Lagos State government has closed all CHRISLAND schools in the state, pending the outcome of investigation by security agents. A motorist reportedly killed an officer of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASTMA, on Wednesday at the Chevron area of Lekki-Ekpe Expressway, Lagos. According to an eyewitness account, the LASTMA officer named Jamiu Issa was run over by the driver of a Sienna vehicle with plate number FST 901AR while trying to obstruct him from driving against the flow of traffic. The driver was also reported to have knocked one other person down at the scene of the incident. The officer was immediately rushed to Lagos Island General Hospital, where he was pronounced dead by medical experts at the facility. Confirming Issa's death, the general manager of LASTMA, Bolaji Oriagba, on Wednesday said Issa died owing to the magnitude of the injuries sustained from the incident. Oriagba disclosed that the driver was currently being interrogated by the policemen attached to Ajiwe police station to ascertain what transpired at the scene. Oriagba, according to a statement signed by LASTMA spokesperson Olumide Filade, disclosed that in spite of several appeals and warnings to the public to desist from assaulting and injuring government officials, those found guilty would be made to face the full wrath of the law. He added that the occurrence would not discourage officers of the agencies from continuing to carry out their duties and responsibilities as enshrined in the law that set up the agency. That's the news on AN24 TV. You can follow us on all our social media handles, on Twitter at AN24 TV, on Instagram at AN24_TV, YouTube at AN24 TV. You can also read more on our website at www.an24tv.net.